So what about the farmers that are currently in business who would like to, actually get to that point of exporting? So what if you don't have a lot of money? What are they doing? How can the industry move forward with that?
Okay, as far as the industry, I think there's several primary steps that the ornamental fishing industry in Jamaica need to actually try to apply or try to do before we get to that point where in which fish are exported. One, right? We need to have a defined set of rules, right? And these rules should apply for both the unattached youths there in the inner city and the large farmers out there. And not taking anything away from either side, but these rules should be so set that no bureaucratic red tape would seem too overwhelming for any individual wanting to get in or to become active within the industry. So
Right.
I think that is one of the first step. Another step is that I think that ornamental fish keeping in Jamaica is a very lucrative and profit
That's what they keep saying, that it's
venturing,
lucrative,
right?
but people aren't able to
Right.
make money from it.
Right. The thing is that we need to trust each other and trust each other
So
more.
that's a
All
big
right.
issue that farmers are not.
Right.
It was that something that has always been that way, or just with times it's changed?
I think it is coming from our ancestral heritage, It's something that was, because we know that we were on the sugar, our ancestors were on the sugar plantation, and we were actually cultured not to believe in totality everything that persons come to you and trying to sell. We must question everything. We must think of the whole idea of persons are going to use you so as to reach where they're going, right? So we see persons out there wanting information as the overseer on the sugarcane plantation, over your back, looking to see what you're doing so as to run to report to the master of the plantation,
It's
right? So
inherent.
it is a mental thing. Yeah, it's a mental thing that we have. For example, I am vocal, right? And I have actually gone on several YouTube channel, Jamaican fish keepers that I've seen active uh, on YouTube. And I've actually, commend them and say all of that. And, I would like to meet and talk to you more. And up to now, the native will respond to my comment, right? I'm not sure whether or not they are, wondering what is it that I am up to, whether or not I'm trying to play them, right? But being it that I'm Jamaican and I'm trying to get this thing to be, a little bit more out there, it's kind of a little difficult on my part to do that. I find that persons overseas that I have actually communicated with, they're more responsive to like requests for interviews, requests for talk, requests for sharing ideas than the ones that are here in Jamaica, right?
Right.
There's much talk about having fish clubs, right?
Right.
A fish club is a group of individuals having the same type of like
Hmm.
preference having fish. We talk
Right.
about the education side, we talk about the economic side, we talk about different things, right?
Right.
um Practically there are none in Jamaica, and if they
But
are
wasn't there one
they,
at first? Didn't you have, wasn't there an Ornamental Fish Association at some point?
right, yes they were, but not it's not like it's open to everyone, right?
Okay. So that's
The persons
that's one
yeah,
solution that I
right,
think there's a tilapia fishers association, and they seem to
right.
collaborate and work together. So possibly
Mm-hmm.
maybe if there was an open but to get that started, right? Like somebody to get that started, or a
Mm-hmm.
group of people to get that
Mm-hmm.
started, where
It comes
there
down to
can
trust.
start getting
Yeah.
Because that's what it's amount to. Because from what I see, from what you're described to me, the industry is kind of divided into large, then the
Mm-hmm.
unattached youth, and then the people who love the hobby but want to get
Mm-hmm.
into making money. They want to make
Right.
and want to export. How
Right.
how to get it to that point? It seems that all the small players have to work together to be able to put together resources in order to export, or it may
Mm-hmm.
not happen for them. Is that correct? Do you think so?
Yes, yes, exactly. To the T, to the T, right? What you're saying, that's it, right? And in addition to the whole idea of getting a little bit more trust within the whole framework of the industry and the fish club, if the ministry, it could be an initiative of the ministry, it could be an initiative of NGOs. If you could have ornamental fish shows,
Right.
right? And these ornamental fish shows, probably persons whom you might not even know are part of the industry, comes out, they show you their fish, they talk about what they do, and persons, you will be so surprised to know
There are
that a lot
many
of persons actually
people,
do this.
a
Right,
lot of
right,
people, and they love the industry. They love the hobby
right,
itself.
right,
So
right.
do you think ornamental fish is not taken as seriously as food fish within, for instance, the National Fisheries Association? Is it the NFA? Is it not at that level in which they think it's as important as food fish? Because it
All right.
is in terms of making money. It is.
Yes, it is as making money. But I think that the fisheries department, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the fisheries department does the ornamental fish keeping industry a great injustice when it comes down to the whole application and processing of um of licensing for individuals to both export and import ornamental fish stock, right? I shared in my blog the other day that import export license will last for 5 months or something
Why?
like that,
Why?
right? I don't know. It will last for 5 months, and you go through a lot of paperwork. And as soon as
That's
the
a
five
lot.
months finishes,
Yes.
right? Yeah, 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 mark you, it is not expensive to pay for the process, but it's
Right.
just the bureaucratic red tape in it you need so as to get it done, right? And also, I understand the other under rules in which they have, where which they one of the rules in which they have is that if you are importing fish, you should have uh like a license of health or something
Well,
like
that's
a vet,
very important. That's absolutely
right?
very
That's very
important.
important, right?
Yes.
So if let's for example, one of my YouTube friends sending me some fish, he would have to source uh some qualified, approved, certified, or whatever you call it, individual to assess the fish to ensure that they're disease free and all that, and ship them. And that's another problem, right? Shipping live cargo, right? We don't have that. It's not like overseas where I can ship live cargo and it reaches within 2-3 days, right?
Right.
Sometimes, according to what a friend of mine shared with me, you might end up ship some nice lovely fish, but out of a batch of 10, you might end up have about 2 that is alive,
Right.
right? And one of the things that a lot of importers will tell you is that you pay for your fish before they come. Like let's say for example that you want some bristlenose pleco, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want 6. You would have to pay the importer the monies for those 6. And there's a disclaimer that says that whatever happened to the fish in transit is not their responsibility, right? It's a total, like persons don't really want to risk that. So you find
Yeah,
that the
even right.
importers
Yeah.
the importers are like hesitant in doing that, because if they import a fish that is really expensive and in transit the fish actually dies, the importer doesn't want to stand that bill, and there's
Right.
no
Right.
insurance that is going to cover all of that. So I guess one of the game changers that we need to have as ornamental fish farmers is opportunity to actually ship fish both overseas and ship fish in through a service that is, what you call it now, afford fish to arrive
Affordable. It's
alive.
affordable.
Right,
So
right,
so
right.
that's an opportunity right there. So when people look at the industry itself, it's not only about breeding and raising the fish. There are other
No.
opportunities in the industry. Right
Right,
now, what is missing is that warehouse, right? That
right,
quarantine
right,
warehouse in
right.
which farmers can now raise their fish, take 2 months or 3 months, and
Mm-hmm,
be able to deposit their fish at a warehouse and
mm-hmm.
have
As
them
it
take care of it before it goes to export.
right, right, right. And as I talk about 2 months, 3 months, um, to get really good quality fish, ornamental fish, it will take probably even a year for that fish to actually come to good fruition if you're going to actually grow the fish the natural way. And you have persons in Jamaica, they have done several things that I consider unethical. And I think one of the rules that should govern ornamental fish farming in Jamaica is that where unethical practices are identified, a penalty is actually enacted on that particular individual. I mean, for example, whether or not you are the only person who actually imported that fish and it came in alive and you are able to breed it, you shouldn't be feeding a fish using chemical laced
Right,
food
right.
that
That shouldn't
prevent them,
be
that
out.
makes them sterile,
Mm-hmm.
right? So therefore, anybody purchase that fish, you are unable to breed them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you understand? So, and to some extent, that chemical sometimes might cause the fish to have a shorter span of life. So what
Right.
does that do?
Another
So that
opportunity is right
yes.
there because we've talked, another farmer I talked to is also the ability to get broodstock, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
that another opportunity, which I think, if we look at the bigger picture, if you're able to start having clubs and discussions, is institutions setting up research programs for breeding fish. Now, this is
yeah.
not far-fetched because that's what the University of Florida does, because Florida is the largest producer of ornamental fish in the US.
Oh
They
yes.
have universities geared towards helping the farmers. So you have
Mm-hmm,
labs in which they are doing research, breed fish that can
mm-hmm,
provide broodstock to farmers, right? So
mm-hmm.
then you can just eliminate this idea of having to import all the time. Once you have an idea of which fish is needed, we can create labs in order to raise these fish. I mean, to me, that's a very, if there would, if we could,
Yeah.
if elevate the industry more than just a hobby. It is an industry that can really grow and grow into different areas. Research is a very important area, you know?
In sharing on this, um, Jamaican fish farmers are even farmers themselves are affected by natural disaster every year, right? And I
Yes.
see, I read in an article written by, I think it's Shane Willis, right? I don't remember. He's the president of
The
OFI,
ornamental
Ornamental
fish
Fish in
industry.
Fish. Right, right. I read an article and I actually went through it with fine teeth comb, assessing
I
that. I did it in my
noticed.
blog, right? Right.
Yes.
I went through it and it points to the whole fact that the Caribbean is impacted heavily by natural disaster. And as a result of that, persons are like turning away from ornamental fish keeping because each time they would actually start the farm, disaster would come, flooding and all that, and the stock would die. And I rebutted that argument, suggesting that Florida, the Panhandle, right, experienced practically the same amount, if not more, tropical storm
Yes,
our island Jamaica.
exactly.
And
Yes.
a farm like Seacrest, they have several farms, right? I mean, several acres of land,
And they're
right?
an
With
example
ponds.
of a warehouse because they
Right.
purchase fish all over and
All over the world.
right and
Right,
resell them. So that's a perfect
right.
example.
Right. So that amount of investment is needed. Now, purchasing vats and pumps and greenhouse and giving to the unattached youths and those persons in between and all those persons won't help the situation as far as increasing persons' involvement in ornamental fish keeping. What we need an industry that is not movable, an industry wherein which if breeze blow and too hard, the ponds won't overflow, the greenhouse won't blow away, the fish won't die. But
Mhm.
we have an industry where it is solid. If possible, we can, if a really terrible storm is coming, we can actually enact some disaster risk management initiative on individual farms, which actually preserve the fish stock. I
And
mean, um,
that's how you bring in other organizations as well, like the Environmental
right,
Protection Agency, in
right.
which before I think I had spoke to another farmer before you even begin farming, that should be in your plan, right? How are you going
Mhm.
to protect your farm for natural disasters? And we're having more and more each year. It's just getting worse and worse. So
Right,
it just makes sense that before you even begin your farm, which is possible, is to have a plan in place. How are you going to protect your farm? So it's not
yes,
just setting up a vat anymore. It's having a plan,
right,
before you
right.
even begin. It's a business, so you need a business plan and a protection plan.
Yes. I'm not too knocking those persons trying to help to promote the industry, but
No, not help,
what?
but we need to look at it in a different way
Right,
now.
right,
Moving
right,
forward, we
right.
don't want to keep doing the same things over and over. What can we do to actually make it move forward?
Okay. I'm gonna point out another problem, and then I'm gonna make a suggestion. Now, what I have actually realized, right, is that most of the fish stock that are being promoted as starter fish for fish farms, they are practically the same. So when you go in every pet shop in Jamaica, practically you can, with shutting, closing your eyes, you can actually say, okay, this pet shop is going to have goldfish, it's going to have molly, guppy, swordtail. It's going, there's not much as far as
Right.
exotic type fish available throughout the length and breadth of Jamaica, right? And what I've also realized is that some persons are actually breeding fish, but the stock in which they are breeding, they're not culling their stock. When I say cull, I mean like they're taking
Yeah.
out the bad ones, the ones that are
Right.
not really up to standard,
Right.
and putting them one side. The quality is not there. The loss of quality in fish stock is obvious when you go to some
Mm-hmm.
pet shop, right? So I believe that at sometimes, as ornamental fish farmers, a kind of, what do you call it now, a share or bartering would be really good. For example,
Mm-hmm.
you have a goldfish, right? And I have a
Right.
goldfish. Now, it is
Right.
not good to breed your babies like a male and female when they grow up. It's not good to breed those together because you will have issues. So if
Mm-hmm.
I have a goldfish and you have some goldfish, and we're breeding, and after a while realize that the stock quality is actually falling,
Mm-hmm.
what could happen is that I could actually give you one of my goldfish or two, and you give me
Right.
two or whatever years, and we end up with quality
The
goldfish in the market,
quality goldfish.
right? So as a result of, I am not going to share my goldfish with you because my goldfish, I want to sell them and make money. That
Yeah.
mentality, what you find is that the stock that is being replenished over the years, the quality is actually depleted. So as a result, persons importing new stock is going to charge like all $6,000 for one black more, which is crazy.
Wow.
like, yeah, 6,000. And a big, huge goldfish coming down from Japan or Florida, you're talking about $6,000 or $7,000 just for that one goldfish.
Wow.
Right. So as a result of that, you find that the ornamental fish farmers in Jamaica are practically missing out on the opportunity to not only breed quality fish stock, but also make a networking work where each persons can actually collaborate or partner with each individual so as to, you know, get
To
something
move
that is
forward.
considered right.
Right.
As far as financing is concerned, financing is also a problem. A few years ago, I purchased, after selling some amount of my fish, I went to the downtown and I purchased a nice huge pump, water pump. And I said that I wanted a filtration system that would actually filter all my 16 pumps, my 16 ponds. So I plugged in the pump. You know, my light bill normally like $4,000 a month, right?
Gosh.
So I plugged in the pump, right? And it looked wonderful, nice bucket filter, you know, with sand and gravel and everything looking good, and the fish looked nice and the water clear. When I saw my first light bill, man, the first thing I did was get the scissors and cut off the wires. My light bill jumped from $4,000 to $17,000 within 1 month.
What? Wow.
Right? So as a result of that, I have not practiced to actually filter all of my ponds. Right? I have practiced to use natural ways like using plants and all of that. Now, looking at the unattached youths and those persons like myself who are trying to be within the industry, right? Innovative means of getting your aquariums or your ponds or your system filtered are needed.
Yes.
So what if a partnership can be garnered between, let's say, the Ministry of Science and Technology, where in which
Exactly.
a system is it's actually what do you call it now, installed on these farms right? That actually decreases um electricity usage and more like using a renewable source of energy, right? That can also within itself be a means of propelling more investment.
Industry. Exactly. Exactly. And having more people invested in the industry because now you're using innovation, you're using scientists,
Right,
you're using engineering
right,
to propel and using the knowledge that is local, right? There's a
right,
lot of local knowledge available that is not tapped into.
right. So as a result of that, a lot of my friends said, listen, I like the hobby, the fish looks good, but when I talk about my light bill and my water bill, I can't manage that. Right. So this is Rastaman. I call him Rastaman. I don't remember his name, right? He's very big in ornamental fish keeping. He keeps koi and he has a lot, he has an extensive system. I think he's somewhere from the west. I'm not sure if it's Hanover or Westmoreland, but he normally
Okay.
comes to town and trade his stock,
Mm-hmm.
right? He actually uses the natural waterway. Like you channel the water into
Yeah.
onto his property, where in which he would actually use it as a means of water change, as a means of, you know, so as to
Right.
cut the cost of
Yeah.
water and
Right.
electricity, because the momentum of the water flowing through the property decreases the need for electricity to be used for
It's
pumps.
natural water,
So
right? Yeah.
right. So it's kind of cute when you look at his system, right? He's a little private as far as, you know, showing his stuff. So, but what I've learned from him is invaluable as far as you know, fish keeping is concerned, ornamental fish keeping is concerned, and that's another thing. The whole privacy nature of ornamental fish farmers that kind of is holding us back. For example, I on my YouTube channel, I'll share what I do so as to cut costs, so as to get things work. But some persons will not do that because they are of the opinion that if they share the ideas, other persons will use the ideas and generate income and they will lose. Right? But just sharing the knowledge for me is a value to me. So that's neither here nor there. I think I'm
So
talking
I'm
too
going
much
to
now.
I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
be sharing your YouTube
No
and
problem.
your blog so that people can check it out. But so moving forward, who is going to
Yes.
start this fish club? Who's going to restart the organization to get people
Well,
involved in
well,
showing fish and getting it
I will
active again?
assist. I will assist in the process, but I will not take up that mantle because that mantle is a huge mantle, right? I think it needs a collaborative, cohesive approach, one that doesn't really involve only one person. A core of individuals will be good, so as to dispel any notion of distrust. You don't want anybody to feel as if that one person is taking over and it's as if it is his show, but rather it's a Jamaican thing. Uh, that would be like the direction in which I would like for it to go, right? But as far as myself taking it on, I just stick with my YouTube channel and periodically selling my fish stock. Right.
So yes, this has been really, really informative, and I really see that as a future that somehow if an organization can get it going to dispel the distrust, to share the knowledge, to have a depository of knowledge that is, there's nothing new to this industry. So there's no secret about it anymore. I mean, it's out there. It's on every blog, it's university, you can get articles, it's all out there. But to be able to work together, that would be really a great idea to move forward. Instead we're always talking about how it's has so much potential. What is the next step
Yes, it does.
to get to that potential?
Well,
So
I think from a policy level, ornamental fish farming should be separated from fish farming. Just as how you had mentioned earlier on regarding tilapia fish cooperative or whatever, it should be separated apart from that group of fish farmers because they're total different things, right? I realize that a lot of persons right now, they are actually gravitating to the whole idea where persons actually go fishing, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they gravitating to persons go fishing. So if we can actually grab those persons who go fishing, whether to catch the fish, to keep in the aquarium or just go to fishing to consume the fish. If you can actually grab those persons with that interest and group them with they call it handlers, I think. Anglers. Yeah.
Anglers.
ANGLER.
Okay.
Right, anglers, right. If you could grab those persons and put them with the ornamental fish keeping folks, you would probably get a greater thrust than if we partner ourselves with those persons with the huge fish farm, the 3-acre and the 4-acre fish farm.
It's a totally different industry.
No, totally different industry. Their innovative knowledge is should I say techniques is totally different because all the ornamental and the anglers, they do it for fun and they do it for business also, right? But the fun part is out of it as far as the tilapia is concerned. You're just talking about strictly keeping fish to consume fish.
Right.
Yeah, it's a total different thing.
So this was so informative. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
No problem.
We will see what will come out of it, but a lot of important points and really important solutions, and we'll put it out there. I think you should write to the Gleaner. I think you should. But you're a great communicator, and it was really nice chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Bye-bye.